This is Flair from Gaming Embers, and you're listening to the Escape Pod cast, recorded live in front of a studio audience. Enjoy the show.
One is a Grand Arena Specialist from the UK. The other is a Territory Battle Tactician from the US. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. But with both having decades of hosting experience under their belt, the one thing we are sure of is you will be entertained. This is the Escape Pod Cast, a weekly look into the mobile game Star Wars: Galaxy of Heroes. Live from the Nerdy Network studios of Yavin 4, here are your hosts, Neil Andrew Eyre and Paul Anthony.
Coming up on this week's edition of the Escape Pod Cast.
How much have Datacrons changed Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes?
We'll talk about our thoughts on the controversial updates.
And then maybe get a little lighthearted.
I really hope so. This week has been so rough.
Did you get that sick, Paul?
No. I'm talking about all the people who are quitting playing the long game.
Yes. But, I mean, they are still playing.
That may very well be, but it doesn't make it any easier for guilds and their officers.
I guess then we will talk about the guild impact of them too, then.
Yeah, not just the personal impact.
Speaking of people stepping back, our very own Dickie Darkside joins us this week.
We're going to talk to him about what he's doing with the game and the future of his content creation and content creation for the show because of it.
And then, of course, Patreon's Choice on the Bridge.
Yeah, maybe, Neil. We also did promise Dickie Darkside we're going to be doing a comic book segment.
Oh, maybe he can join in then if we have the time.
If we have the time for Patreon's Choice, exactly. But that sounds like a plan.
All this and breaking news as and if it happens.
Right here on the Escape Pod Cast.
The Escape Pod Cast News.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Escape Pod Cast. I'm your host, Nev, clearly missing his cue. And as always, I am joined by my co-host, Paul Anthony. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Neil. I'm like, go.
I was talking and then I realized, oh crap, the video's not on my second monitor. And then I do that and I could see you with your arms behind your head and I'm like, is he about to give me the cue? Or is he giving me the cue? So, yeah.
Also, I want to give a shout out and a special thank you once again to Mr. Kyle, also known as Bob, also known as Bones, who our ship AI is modeled after. So I will thank you, Bob, for having the wherewithal to jump in and co-host at last moment last week.
Hey,
appreciate you.
No problem, brother. I appreciate you for me being the choice. So I really appreciate you, man. And it was an honor, and I had a good time.
Excellent, and you did very, very well. I watched it back when I was no longer in a drug haze, and
I sucked at the end though. Like I thought, I'm gonna get these questions. That was my favorite part. And I was like, dude, not one of them did I know an answer to.
Jedi Rules, thank you very much for the gifted sub to Go Cubs 8. Cass, thank you very much for the 100 bits. That means we're close to a hype train already. Neil,
oh, lovely.
Neil,
yes.
Here's the problem, though, this week. We had known issues out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Game Center for iOS does not allow you to go into airplane mode and come back. Otherwise, it signs you out, and your entire battle is lost no matter how you did. Sepharandus, thank you for the 5 bits. Norelli, making the hype train happen. We will thank every single person who helps during the hype train. Once it is complete, let's see how far we can get it. Your support for this show live when it's going on is immensely important to us, and we appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. So. It's always appreciated.
Yes. All right. But it was not a good week for the game itself, in my opinion.
No. I mean, here's the thing. You know, usually sometimes these things kind of like tend to even out. Something crap happens, and then something good happens, and then something crap happens, and then something. You know, sometimes the good evens out the bad. But recently, especially this week, you know, it's not been. No, it's not been that good. I mean, we had the Grand Inquisitor event. Obviously, we had the End of Conquest. We had GAC Territory Wars, and we had Datacrons. And the fact that something new that's come to the game, and obviously, it's starting to get used. Sometimes you tend to, oh, this is good. It's something new. Let's get stuck into it. And that doesn't seem to be the way it is. And it's just there's this bad feeling floating around at the moment. Well, I wouldn't actually. I hesitate
more
to say bad.
There's more. You didn't mention something that was a big problem.
Lay it down.
Proving grounds. You couldn't refresh it enough. You could not get. If you had less than 20, if there was less than 20 to go in your stash, you could not refresh it. If you had 19 shards to go, you could not refresh it for the 20.
Yeah. Oh, no. The same thing happened to me. I did it, and then I only needed 15. My Commander Tano is at 315. So I only needed, one refresh. Sorry, 2 refreshes. So I went to 315 with my refresh, and then I couldn't do a refresh afterwards because I had, I didn't quite understand it, why it happened. But at the time, I just thought to myself, bollocks. It's only 15 shards. The next time she's in the weekly shipments, I'm going to be able to get them anyway. And I'll still get her this month. I mean, I didn't quite understand why it wouldn't do it or anything like that. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as quite a few people regarding that.
Norelli is saying they had 32 to go and they couldn't even play it.
Oh, wow.
So it was more than just that. You guys are doing great. We have 1 minute, 40 seconds left in the hype train from the time I'm saying it. And we're almost through level 1. So we appreciate you guys very, very much, and we'll acknowledge each and every single one. But no, I mean, not being able to airplane territory wars and proving grounds locking you out and Grand Inquisitor happening at the same time as this testing field, and I'm going to get into why I'm saying that, of Datacrons, it's just, it makes it hard to say, hey, Neil, let's talk for 2 hours about this game.
Yeah. It's making people less enthusiastic about the game. It's not that people have stopped playing. It's that it seems to have crossed the Rubicon for a lot of people that are now having to play rather than wanting to play. And I'm getting that a lot. I'm seeing and hearing that quite a lot more. That people are, they feel, they feel reluctant to give up the game because, they're part of a guild. They don't want to let their guild down. So they log in and they do everything that they need to do because they need to do it. So people are playing because they need to, not because they want to, because, they have a sense of, community and guild. So, yeah. Oh, wow. The hype train.
We blew through stage 2. We're now in stage 3, level 3 of the hype train, 4 minutes, 20 seconds, due to Hell's Damned UK. Thank you very, very much. Amazing.
The subs are always, gifted subs are always appreciated. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. And it also puts whoever gets the sub gets their name in the credits. That's also the fun part. So
get the name in the credits. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting. I mean, I've spoken to lots and lots of individual people, and a lot of them are like, yeah, you know, that people are feeling very lackluster. People are feeling very, very lackluster about it. So yeah, that does tend to happen from time to time.
By the way, level 3 complete because of Hell's Damned. Blew through level 4. We're now at level 5. Hell's Damned. We are going to shout out each and every single one of these. Thank you so very, very much. And Bodhi noticed that Hellenix got a shame sub because we have not seen our favorite Salty Spartan. You know what? I really wonder what Hellenix thinks about all this. We all know we would get, oh, it's crap. You know, we know we would get that, but I wonder what his thoughts are to hold Datacrons. Level 5 complete. You guys have, let's see how long it is. You guys have 3 minutes, 53 seconds from right now. And then at the end, we will thank everybody who contributed during the hype train. And I have to turn my phone off, apparently. You know, it's usually you, Neil.
Yes, it is. It's normally mine.
All right.
It's normally mine.
All right. This has been the issue. The game for some people has become, as you said, I'm just gonna do what I normally am supposed to do for my guild. It's no longer become, I want to excel at this game. I want to do good at this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is definitely the big kind of feeling that I've picked up from, you know what it's like when you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like, oh, how are things going in territory wars? And if you're in a guild that's competitive, it's like, oh, we've strung 7 back to back right now. You know, and people are like, oh, we're pushing for the 8th or we're pushing for the 9th. And it's like that enthusiasm, that taste, you know, the urge to string something extra together, you know. Oh, I've put 6 GAC rounds back to back. You know, I really want. It's like that seems to have been. It's almost as if it's been sapped. So, you know, something in the game is sapping that enthusiasm out of the competitive player base.
It's to me, it's Datacrons.
It's Datacron, yeah.
But Neil, and I know you probably don't want to hear this, it's also the new matchmaking system in GAC.
Yeah,
Bob,
absolutely.
I agree.
Tell me more of your thoughts on this, Bob.
I'm just getting a lot of feedback from not only myself, but from my community and others. And it seems like things were going well because I would defend this matchmaking system all the time. We have on the show and everything. Ever since 3v3 started, just craziness. And I know that because of 3v3, it throws things out of whack. But, you know, I got my friend Dark Nar who just started the game. He's at 1 million GP and he's going up against 5 million GP and they're attacking. It's not like they're falling down or anything like that because they're not participating. They're attacking him. And there's other people that are starting out with him around the same time, getting the same thing. I met a lot of new people very recently, the last few days, that are saying the same thing. They're right around 1.5, under 2 million, and they're going up against 2 and 3 GLs, and they're attacking. It's not like it's just a non-participant or anything. So I think there's something wrong with the matchmaking. I don't know what it is, but I definitely see that.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the matchmaking. There's something wrong with the people that are exploiting it. That's, you know.
But what benefit do they get from being all the way down there with a 1 million and,
because they get to wave their little stick around saying that I did really good against, I went 12-0 this past thing. I
Right.
got promoted back to Erodium.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
there is an element to it's somebody in chat. Sig just brought it up in chat. The people not liking 3v3, that will have caused a lot of so people that are actually good, not really participating in 3v3, just taking their one match to get their rewards and thinking to themselves, I don't care about 3v3. All I care about is 5v5. So if you get somebody that does not like 3v3 and does not play, they're literally going to go 0-12. There's a bunch of people that during 3v3 that should have been, if they'd competed, probably would have done 6-6, 7-5, something like that, finishing 0-12 and crashing down the the league tables, and then coming back for 5v5. So that it could be that, because there's a lot of there is more distaste for 3v3 now than there ever was before, and the absolute dread fear that some competitive players have for what Datacrons are going to do to 3v3. I mean, I have the exact same fears, absolute dread fear, that we're going to see level 9 Datacrons on GLs in 3v3. And we already know that there are certain squads that are just unbeatable unless you have a perfect counter. But that perfect counter might not work now because it's 3v3. So yeah, there's not a lot of thought for 3v3. So I'll just throw that in there from Sig. People don't like 3v3. So there would have been a lot of drops. The matchmaking itself could work and would work perfectly if every single person that played GAC every round to the best of their ability. But that's not what happens. There are people that go on vacation and go 0-3. There are people that just don't join and go 0-3. There are people that join, do one fight in each and go 0-3. And then you get people that are part-timers, they'll compete one week, but not another week, and that shrinks that, that lessens what the matchmaking is supposed to do. Because they've made that matchmaking thinking this algorithm for matchmaking is only going to work if every single, like I just said, if those parameters are not met, and those parameters aren't being met, and we get exceptions to the rule. And with Datacrons, it's like an even bigger, it's creating even more, but it's going to create even more bigger exceptions to the rule. It's going to create a chasm between pay to win and free to play. It is. It may not have been seen in the first week. It may not be getting seen this week, but the people playing, they know. Everybody's got whale and kraken friends. Everybody knows someone or watches somebody that competes in the top 1% and the top 0.1%. And that's where the Datacrons have had the most immediate effect, because those are the people with the accounts and the wallets to be able to, take a couple of Datacrons to level 9 and then slap them on their 2 GLs, and that's just one set. Every month, a new set is going to come out, and those same people are going to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I'm not seeing it in Division 4 of Kyber or in Erodium 2. Right?
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. We
oh wow.
Yes. So let's really quick go over this. Go over the hype train.
Express our appreciation, please. Go ahead.
Jedi rules with a gifted sub, Cascade with 100 bits, Sephironis with the shiny nickel, Norelli starting the hype train with 100 bits. Then Cass with 50, Dr. Feelgood with 100, Dr. Feelgood with 185. The way they did that is they 5 times 37. And then Cass with 100, Hell's Damned coming in with 5 community subs. Dr. Feelgood with 100 bits, Hell's Damned then with 10, and then 5. Jedi Rules with another gifted sub, Dr. Feelgood with 5 bits, Force Strong with 200 bits, and then just a minute ago, 20 subs from Hell's Damned UK. Holy cow. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get back to what's at hand.
Okay. So Von 13 has posted a rebuttal. That will push them higher up, won't it? So that will fix itself. Well, no, because what will happen is it's starting at the top now, and as each month produces a new set of Datacrons, where it gets affected, it will slowly but surely bleed further and further and further down the divisions. It'll be slow, but it'll bleed it down, and then there'll come a point where it's just whales and krakens competing against whales and krakens, and then they'll lose interest. The whole point of this symbiosis in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is the whales and the krakens use their wallets to beat the free-to-play over the head. It's like, smack. So, take that with my 6 GLs. And it's like, okay, fine. But then you'll come across every now and then, that free-to-play person comes across someone with a big fat wallet that tries to slap you, and you go, not today, buddy, not today. So there was always this great symbiosis. Free to play, we understand that it's the whales and the krakens that keep the lights on, and they're going to smack us about the head with their wallets whenever they damn well please. But if you're very, very good, free to play, you can kind of like stay under the radar and not get slapped about as much, and actually do some hitting back yourself. So the chasm between free to play and pay to win has been pretty close, but it's not going to fix itself. It's only that as each month rolls in, it's only going to exacerbate the situation. And we need everybody playing. We can't be having the whales and the krakens go, because that's the death knell of the game. And
yeah, and Sig said, what Sig said, I reflected on it while you were talking about it, and yes, I found myself giving no F's about 3v3, honestly, and just played what I could. I made my attack, and if I could do something, I did something.
Mm-hmm.
The new matchmaking, as you said, if everybody played to the best of their ability, the matchmaking would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't.
No.
And
it creates those externalities create exceptions to the rule. It's just and we all know that there are more exceptions to the rule than there should be. It should be like maybe one post. There should be one thread on the forum where it occurs, so that, CG can look at it and go, yeah, maybe that's something that we can do, but it's not. It's multiple posts every single time GAC is on, multiple screenshots, of complete and utter mismatches. And with Datacrons in there, this is where it's going to, I've seen it at the top. This is where it's going to cause the problems. So a collector with 10.5 million that's got everything and can spend, has a big fat wallet, right? Competing against someone who's good, but not Kraken or whale level at 9.5 can be competitive, even though they're outmatched by 1 million GP, which means their opponent's got a bunch more relic characters and usually more speed. There's still a chance. You add the multiple level 9 Datacrons that 10.5 million account is now going to be able to add, but the 9.5 million account isn't. It widens the gap. So matchmaking is going to seem even worse. So, you might look at that account that's got 3 more GLs than you and 2 mil GP more than you and think, bloody hell, I've got a mountain to climb. Slap a Datacron or 2 on that defense. It's not a mountain that you've got to climb. It's you're trying to fly to the moon without a rocket. It's just, there's the moon. Go on, just go to it. Yeah, but I don't have the tools. I need it. Does it fly to the moon? It's impossible, and people look at that and they instantly think, bollocks to this, one fight, I'll take my rewards. And if you get that, that's the thing that I fear the most moving forward with the game as each month rolls into the other. I mean, we're almost upon set 2. We're almost upon set 2, and I dread to think which GLs. I mean, we know that JML is going to be one of them, but it's like, what's the other GL going to be on the other set? You know, what's the dark side? Oh, it's like, it's just, what's the dark side one going to be? It's going to be C. Is it going to make C? So, right. And then not forget, and then you've got to remember all of this new stuff on top of the stuff that they got last month. So it's just bonkers. So
let's talk whatever can be done about this after the break right here on the Escape Podcast.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards, including after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Welcome into the Patreon leaderboard, brought to you by the Patreons of the Escape Podcast. Are you not a streamer but would love to see yourself on the boards just like content creators in GA Center, as hosted by Nev and Ranger every single Thursday night of a GAC week? Well, sign up at patreon.com/theescapepod at the Copper Combatant level or higher and get yourself on the board. Would love to have you here. Now, let's go ahead and get to the boards. D clocks in at 1-2. 1,925 banners, 14 wins, 0 losses, 7 holds. 1-2. Better than not joining, D. Nice job. 1-2 for Dr. JoJo. Banners, 4,424. 39 wins, 14 losses, 15 holds. He files this report. The most fun a guy can have in a 1-2 week. Round 1, he faced a guildmate, so they streamed in Discord. He couldn't beat the Jedi Master Kenobi on the back wall, and Dr. JoJo fold cleared him. Round 2, he faced some streamer. You might have heard of him. He's named Zareth. His words, he's been a Patreon of Zareth for over 2 years. While it went about as expected, he failed on the fleets and the JML on the back. He also pushed him a little hard and held Zareth under 1,800 banners. And what does he get as a consolation prize? The Galactic Legend himself. He faced Heinze. This was a stacked, this was the big bracket, guys. Check out GA Center from last night. In another slugfest where he had the sickest Qui-Gon Jinn team he's ever faced. He lost his Rey with it. Another back wall held JML from him full clearing. And then he struggled hard, but the depth of the Galactic Legend, Heinze69 himself, allowed Heinze to full clear. Dr. JoJo had a wonderful, wonderful, fun-filled week. 4 strong, 1-2. Also, 3,039 banners, 18 wins, 2 losses, 3 holds. Hot Sauce goes 1-2, 4,478 banners, 39 wins, 13 losses, 3 holds for our current champion of the leaderboards. And finally, Seth goes 1-2 as well, apparently. 1,732 banners, 14 up, 3 down, 10 on the holds. Let's look at the board. Everybody is 1-2. Go figure. But D, right there, I forgot to take off this, so let me go clear that off. There we go. He is 1-2 on his as well. Now, because of Hot Sauce's 4,478 banners, he's in front of Dr. JoJo, who has 4,424 banners. 54 banners separates first and second place if they run the gamut the same throughout the entire rest of the way. 4 strong with 1,587. And then, actually, that should be reversed. Sephiranus at 1,732 and D at 1,925. So 4 strong's currently actually at the bottom, even though what that says. But anybody's game. Seriously, anybody's game. We only have 2 more weeks to see how this goes through. And you know what? I'm looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, be here next week. Join up. We'd love to have you on here as well at patreon.com/theescapepod. Until we see you after these messages, be nice to each other, damn it.
We want you. Join the GAC chain gang today. This is the commander of the 506th Procrastination Battalion and the leader of the GAC chain gang. I am sending out a call to action for any SWGOH content creators on Twitch who would be willing to broadcast their GAC attack rounds. We are an amazing group of content creators who are dedicated on streaming the Grand Arena Championship attack rounds on Twitch. The idea is to provide continuous content back-to-back from one streamer to the next and allow the viewers to enjoy more SWGOH content, as well as enjoy the variety of streamers that are currently present in the group. If you are interested in joining the chain gang, please reach out to myself on Discord at AndyB's #7465, or you can send us a message on our Twitter page at ChainGAC. Join us today. We have your back.
You're listening to the Escape Pod Cast.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're having some very, very heated discussions in the green room, you know, while we take breaks, definitely.
But
yeah,
let's bring it here. But
yeah,
let me start off. Let me start off with the question: is if this can get fixed?
Yeah.
How can it get fixed? Or is this a part where they go, we screwed up, and in 3 months, 4 months down the line, Datacrons are no more. You know, next month they say Datacrons had an unintended consequence, but we promised we wouldn't take them away. Use them until they fall apart.
I don't think there's any way to fix this. And CG have already said if anything is broken in it, they won't fix it. They'll just let it fade out after its 3-month time period has lapsed. So they'll just let it fade out. So,
does that include Datacrons as a feature itself?
Oh no, they're not just gonna get them. It's a new revenue stream for them. So they're not just gonna give them up. It is a brand new revenue. They will be looking at they'll look at the stats, and they'll have all of the data for the most recent conquest that just ran, and they'll look at that and they'll be like, right, how many crystals did people spend refreshing the nodes that are at the ends of each of the sectors? And they'll have stats on that, and then they'll be able to work out how much the big spenders are spending extra on crystals to do extra refreshes on that, because Conquest and the weekly store, which only gets refreshed once a week, are the only places where you can get the materials, which is kind of stupid because Conquest only runs 2 weeks of a month. So for the other 2 weeks, you're only going to get resources from the weekly store, which only refreshes once a week. So that, you know, that kind of sucks. But I would suggest 2 sticking plasters. So I don't think it's going to be fixed, but they can mitigate the outrage and the criticism and some of the vitriol with two things. First thing, they have to remove GLs completely from all Datacrons future, and the ones that
but
are on
I
at the
spent
moment,
my
like
money on those, Neil. I spent my money in order to get those Galactic Legends. If I want to put my money on, if I want to put money on top of money on top of money, I should be able to do that.
Yeah, no, and you can. I'm not saying that they should be taken off you. I'm saying that within the rules of Datacrons, all the money that you spent on that set disappears anyway after 3 months. What I'm saying is, sticking plaster number 1 is they don't do any more sets with GLs, and any more, set 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They can pick whatever character they want, but it can't be a GL. It cannot be a GL. So that's sticking plaster number 1. Sticking plaster number 2 is this absolutely rank, disgusting mechanism within, and I'm using the word disgusting, where every character that is on a squad is required to be Relic 3. And that is not the way that this game has ever been played. It has never been played to the point where, I must take every single one in this squad to Relic 3. I must, people mix and match based on what they need. People didn't Relic 5 random characters for the Crankor. They took what they had and they theory crafted with what they already had, and then they put those teams out. Okay, that's an exception to the rule. But taking something up to Relic 5 to do the Crankor, that's just the way things are. But there are literally hundreds of thousands of people playing their accounts, and they'll have maybe a handful of teams free to play. I'm talking about the majority of free to play. They'll have a handful of all Relic 3 squads, but a lot of their squads will have key characters at a high Relic and everything else well below it, because it's like, I need this engine part of this team. Like Imperial Troopers is a perfect example of this. It is a perfect. Not everybody has all their Imperial Troopers above Relic 3 yet. A lot of people, myself included, keep Gideon and the Dark Trooper below Relic 3 because you don't need them at a Relic level in order to beat Relic Night Sisters or Relic Geo. You just don't need it. All you need to do is outspeed them. So that is and it's not just that. It's the JKR team, the Ray team, the JTR team. Rebel. There are multiple teams. Geos, Treya. There are multiple teams where people will not have every single character at a Relic 3 level, and therefore they cannot use the Datacron. So think about it this way, Paul. This is what I said off camera earlier on. Mm-hmm. Imagine yourself 6 months down the road from now. So everybody has 3 sets.
Right now, in this game, I'm struggling to do that. Just to put that out there. 6 months from now, 2023, Datacrons has hurt that. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so 6 months from now, everybody has got Datacrons from 3 sets. So, I mean, I think I've got about 7 or 8 on my main account. I'm working on 7 of them because I only have 7 full teams that are at Relic 3 or above. All of my other teams have either got 1 or 2 or 3 missing, right? So having Datacrons for those teams it's irrelevant. It makes no sense. So I've got a good set of Datacrons on set 1, and I've got just enough full squads to use those 7 Datacrons. So the next set, so set 2 rolls in. I'm farming for Datacrons. Why? I've got nowhere to put them. Absolutely nowhere to put them. I can't, maybe I can upgrade these ones faster. Maybe I can pull 1 or 2 better, but it's like, I'm going to have another 7 at this set, and I'm going to have another 7 at that. But I'm still only going to have 1/3 of the character squads that I can actually use them with. So, and that's just crap. People cannot spend their resources taking these, characters that don't need to be Relic 3 to Relic 3. So my sticking plaster number 2 would be, change the mechanics of the Datacrons so that you can still apply it to a squad. As long as there is one squad member that is Relic 3 or above, then you can still apply that Datacron. Of course,
but it can't be a GL.
But it can't be a GL. But I mean, so nothing below Relic 3 so you can apply the Datacron and put the bonus on that Relic 3 character, or the 2 Relic 3 characters, or the 3 Relic 3 characters. You get to apply the Datacron. Nothing happens to those lower ranked ones. I think that's a decent sticking plaster.
Let me play devil's advocate on that one. What if they're putting this ultra high health steel Datacron on Lord Vader, and then putting, their Gear 1 Cup, their Gear 1 Gamorrean Guard, all those around them? They all die instantly, and you work on Vader because they're not getting any bonuses. Like I just said, the Datacron is applied to the because there is a Relic 3 or above character on it, but none of the stats go to anybody else. So, I mean, if you wanted to do that, I mean, it would be a waste. You'd be better off putting 4 other Relic 3 characters with Lord Vader on a level 9 Datacron. But if you're somebody that has 30 or 40 Datacrons, and some of them are high level, and you just have no physical way of using them, it would be nice if you could apply one. I mean, it would be nice if you could apply one. It just would. I mean, here's the thing. We know that these Datacrons are going to be in 3v3, so we know that they work with 3. So, like for me, for example, I'm looking at ways that I could use. So let's say I have a squad and it only has 4 relics in it, and I'm thinking, well, what if I just take that out? I throw in an undersized squad against that, but it's got the benefit of having the Datacron stats. So there are stratagems and tactics that you could adopt, but it's not going to help you with your squads. I have at least a half a dozen squads where it's only 2 Relic 3 characters in there, and the rest are Gear 11, not even Gear 12. Gear 11. It would be nice if I can apply a Datacron to that squad. Sure, the Gear 11s don't get any stat bonuses, but at least my 2 Relic 3 characters are getting stat bonuses. Because I kid you, 6 months from now, when your inventory has got 30 to 40 Datacrons in it, and you can't use double digits of that, it's gonna frustrate people. It's like every single month you've got to go for different resources, and you've got to collect this and that, and it's just too much. I think it's too much. So those would be my 2 sticking plasters. Sticking plasters, by the way, for the American, would be an adhesive bandage.
Yes, it would. Well, what do you call sticking plasters over here?
The colloquial term is Band-Aid.
You Band-Aid. You
use the brand name of all things.
Okay, yeah. So 2 Band-Aids. So it's not going to fix it. They are just Band-Aids. But those 2 this is this is going to break the game. This is going to break the game. I am look. I'm just gonna. I used to play a game called Honor Bound back in 2000. It was the game I played before I switched to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Yeah. So I played a game called Honor Bound, and it changed hands a couple times. And the last time it changed hands, the people that bought it created such a chasm between the free-to-play and the pay-to-win that everybody that was free-to-play just stopped playing. You could work towards legendary and mythic characters by working together as a guild, getting them, combining them, and making something strong. And the new people came in and went, well, we're going to create a bunch of mythics and legendaries that people can only get if they pay for them. It destroyed competitiveness. Guilds just fell apart, and the league table just disintegrated because people didn't play anymore. Because that's where you would take your wares. You would take your wares to the monthly leaderboard and try and climb up it, just like Squad Arena. But they brought out a bunch of stuff that only people with fat wallets could get. Datacrons are that thing that people with fat wallets can get very, very quickly and very, very easily. It's like an insta-win button, basically.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And as you've said, with it being in 3v3, it's going to be even worse. It's scary, Neil. It really is freaking scary. The other thing, and as it says down below, I don't think that there's anybody that listens to this show, that watches this show, that could say that they do not know someone from their guild, from their alliance, from a community, and I'm going to even exclude the big communities. There are tons of small communities here. There is not one person in this game that does not know somebody that went, screw Datacrons, I'm coasting from here on out. Or, screw Datacrons, I'm out.
Yeah.
There are 4 to 5 people in our guild, in my one guild, that has done this. And it hurts, because in those territory modes, one of them affected by Datacrons, we encourage each other, because people are getting pissed off about territory war Datacrons. When we get to territory battles, they're like, I don't want to do CMs because they don't have Datacrons, because that's not where the money is now.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody wants to apply those territory battle Omicrons because that's not where the money is. Nobody wants to go forward and do their best in a guild mode when their guild mates are dropping like flies, or they're becoming lethargic like sloths. I'm tired of things being to the point where they shoot themselves in the foot. I really want to know who thought of Datacrons. I really want to know why they thought this was a good idea. I'm still pissed off at the leaker who put it out there. But it's the fact remains that this is something that's poisoning the water hole that CG is drinking out of. The tip of the spear, you guys hate being called that? You're getting dull. I've said my piece.
Oh, right. Okay.
I agree.
Bob, what do you think? You know, you helped with last week.
Yeah.
After what you said last week, what are you thinking? What are you thinking today?
I'm the kind of guy that goes down with the ship, right? I've been here for 6 years, but I'm still mad. You know, if it wasn't for you and the show and the community and my content creating, I would have quit already. But
they're
that's
making money. Yeah, they're making money on communities that have been built around this game and the people wanting to have what the Joneses have.
Yeah, they're kind of I don't know what the word is, but be like
predatory
on us being a community, being a family, and they know that we don't want to leave, and so we'll endure so much stuff like a toxic relationship, and we'll keep coming back no matter what they do to us. But I mean, eventually we all have a turning, a boiling point. I did the same thing with Dragon Champions. I was going to go down with the ship, but then it was so predatory that I just had to say goodbye. I don't know when I'll get to that point personally, but I wouldn't blame anyone for leaving right now because I kind of want to. I have so many other endeavors that really I could do better in the game. But once again, I love you guys. I love our community. I love my community. And yeah, they're predatory towards it. And I said this to you guys earlier, like if they want to turn things around for the future, they got to release like some content and not something to grind on, not something to work on as far as a character or a resource.
A
Like
raid. They need
Yeah.
another raid. They need another territory battle. They need to bring down the difficulty of Lightside Geonosis territory battle.
And that's all we're asking for. You know, it's not asking for much.
Yeah, but the thing is that's not that's not what's on the cards at the moment. What's on the cards at the moment is EA is the parent company, all right? Granted, the IP is under Lucasfilm, which is under Disney, but EA has shareholders that it needs to get money to, you know, dividends. It's got to pay dividends on stuff like that. With the drop in revenue from this game, they have rushed out, you know, they've rushed out Datacrons. They have rushed them out, and the predatory. It's kind of weird. I've always been, you know, kind of. I've always had that feeling that, you know, those Krakens, those Leviathans, those alpha consumers right at the top, they have money to burn, you know, and this is their hobby. You know, some people like fast cars and they'll spend $100,000 on a super fast car because that's their hobby. They're a, you know, petrol head. You know, some people will spend thousands of dollars on a ship and go sailing because that's their thing. Alpha consumers that spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands on this game, they want to, you know, and I'm all for that. But the way that Datacrons are, I think, is particularly predatory because of the way that they work and the way that they're being applied. You know, take a Datacron to level 9, which ain't cheap.
I did.
It is expensive. You did it. So how much was it?
Well, in crystals, I think maybe I spent $15. I had a ton of ally points, of shard shop currency.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's look at the list, right? So in order to use level 9 on a Datacron, the character must be Relic 7, correct?
Correct. For level 9 character feature, they have to be Relic 7.
They have to be Relic 7, right? So CG knows, I mean, hell, we all know how many characters are at how many Relic levels. CGEA knows this. So they cater a list of characters deliberately in level 9 on a Datacron that you must take to Relic 7 in order to get the special bonus feature for it, right? And they come up with, I mean, I'm just looking at one of the light side ones: Finn, Rey, Grandmaster Yoda, Ayala Secura, Resistance Trooper, JMK. Yeah, JMK, Relic 7. That's an obvious one. Maybe Rey, but not Finn, not Resistance Trooper. You know, those aren't the characters. You know, those are the kind of characters that are at a low Relic level because they were required for something, right? So most people won't take those to Relic 7. They won't. Alpha consumers will, though. You bet your bottom dollar that the Uber whales and Krakens will definitely. Yeah, okay. There's $100. Get some crystals. Let's just take that from 3 to 7.
And Voninator also points out that not only, as you were saying earlier, not only Relic 7 for
the individual character, for the entire
Relic
team.
3 for the entire team, Relic 5 for the entire team.
Yeah. So
for
what
the
it's
entire
doing,
faction.
because even the whales and Krakens themselves, they'll have like their top 100. You know, they'll have their core 100. You know, they'll have all their GLs at Relic 9. You know, all the meta characters will be Relic 9. They'll have like gleaming 6A mods. You know, they'll have spent a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort in those characters because they are meta characters. And CG's like, well, it's only going to work if you take this character to Relic 7. I know that, you know, you like to spend money on that, and that character's been languishing in your roster for the last 2 years at that Relic level. Well, we want you to spend money on taking that character to Relic 7. So here's an incentive. We'll give you a massive bonus if you take that character to Relic 7. It's so predatory. It's unbelievable. You know, it's not random characters. They are literally giving you a list of characters that bonus is only going to work on, and then telling you if you want it to work, you've got to pay and use the resources to take that to Relic 7. So that's the predatory thing that's the predatory thing for the tip of the spear. For the head of the spear, it's like I said, it's the Relic 3 issue. Having to spend resources, so we're talking about dolphins and minnows that pump all their money into a very, very narrow path of characters. Right, I need that character at that Relic level, but the rest of the squad doesn't need to be. And that is the case. That is look at all of the money that people spent on the Fennec Shan counter. Not every character needs to be Relic 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah,
just a handful, right? But EA, CG are like, well, we don't like that you just have to do that. So what we're going to do is give this Datacron to your opponent, so that all that work that you just put into that squad, it's not meaningless, but it'll change things and it'll make it harder for you to do that.
Yeah.
So if you get the Datacron and spend resources on these 2 characters that need to be, bumped up, then everything will go back to normal.
Bones, what did we get wrong?
Nothing. All your guys' opinions were beautiful. I agreed with them all. I think you did well.
Speaking of carelessly spending resources, a brand new Relic 9 Cup owner will be joining us after this break, Dickie Darkside, who is stepping back as well. By the way, in honor of Canada Day, I'm going to do this a certain way. We'll be right back after these messages right here on the Escape Podcast.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Back to school. The Escape Pod, cast for kids. It's really cool.
Hello there, Padawans, and welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Thad and the Escape Pod cast for kids. It looks like the devs over there at Capital Games have dropped the next character players will need to unlock Starkiller. In keeping with their focus, wait, I'm getting an odd sense of deja vu. I'm pretty sure I've talked about Kyle Katarn before. So why am I... Oh, that's right. Capital Games has announced Kyle Katarn as the login reward for the month of July. So I figured that now would be a good time to look back at the scrappy rebel fighter and see just how well he's fared since coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes 6 months ago. So get your blue milk ready because we are gonna do this thing. Kyle Katarn, Rebel Fighter, Jedi, and I'm pretty sure he was patterned after Gridden, was introduced to the holotables in late 2021 as part of the journey to unlock Starkiller. Now, at the time, it was rumored that Katarn would actually be a more desirable character than even Starkiller, but I'm not entirely sure that has panned out for the Jedi. Let's take a look at Grand Arena. I'm not sure about you, but I've seen a lot of Kyle Katarn in Grand Arena, and the team I always see him on is a Mon Mothma Rebel team. This is a functional defensive team, but it has so many different counters. You can use an Imperial Trooper counter, you can use an Iden Versio counter. I've even seen Barriss Offee lead a team of scrappy little Jawas to defeat these rebels. New teeny, am I right? Now, my favorite counter though is a juiced up Wampa. There is nothing more poetic than just a Wampa spiced out of his mind, tearing rebel teams limb from limb. Now, we also need to take a look at his territory battles, right? Capital Games built Kyle Katarn's kit to be functional in territory battles. His ability, Blue Milk Runs, provides him some extra utility in territory battles. But this ability and this Omicron ability is not even the most effective. Out of the 5 Omicrons that people have put on characters for territory battles, Kyle is actually the 3rd, with Rebel Officer Leia Organa and Karth Onasi beating him out. Now 3 times as many people have actually Omicron Rolo, and twice as many people have Omicron Karth. So I really feel that he's been lacking in the viability when it comes to territory battles. Maybe there's something still missing from him. Now, one of the biggest disappointments that I can actually say about Kyle Katarn is his lack of official or unofficial transportation. Let's face it, one of the most important things that any Jedi or Rebel or Sith or just leading character in Star Wars needs is transportation. They need a ship. He needs a ship, right? What's a cowboy without a horse? What's an Ewok without a glider? Kyle Katarn needs a ship. I'm not saying that Kyle just needs a random ship. Kyle Katarn actually has a ship in canon. He has 2 of them, in fact. The Moldy Crow and the Raven's Claw. Not to be confused with Ravenclaw. That's a whole separate thing. The Moldy Crow was an HWK 290 light freighter manufactured by none other than the Corellian Engineering Corporation. And we all know that some of the best ships come from Corellia. Kyle eventually crashed the Moldy Crow near the Valley of the Jedi. The Raven's Claw was his replacement ship. Now, if I were a betting man, I would say that Capital Games isn't done with Kyle Katarn just yet. A quick look at the data mine tells us that Capital Games has 5 new ships on the horizon, and even a few new characters that could possibly be released in the next couple of months. Could we see the Moldy Crow or the Raven's Claw for Kyle Katarn? Probably. Well, that's it for me this week. Stay tuned next week for more story time with Uncle Thad on the Escape Podcast for Kids.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Pod Castaways want you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Pod Castaways. All for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs. on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Pod cast.
Attention, we are receiving an incoming transmission. Attention. Attention. We are receiving an incoming transmission.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's incoming transmission time. Paul, you've already partially introduced our guests, so why don't you finish said introduction of this week's incoming transmission?
Before I do, I want to thank Dr. Feelgood for gifting out a Tier 1 sub and Jedi Rules for gifting out a Tier 1 sub during the last segment. So thank you very much to you guys.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we know this man. He's part of the Castaways. He's part of the Nerdy Network. And
he normally goes around with a robot named Noob.
But this time around, we're talking to just the man himself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Dickie Darkside. Dickie, this is not how we wanted to talk to you.
Well, it's not where I thought we would be talking next, no, but it is where we are. So it is Canada Day, though, so we can celebrate.
Yeah, the Escape Pod.
The Escape Podcast, yes.
Don't you know, buddy?
I'm not your buddy,
I'm not your
guy.
buddy, friend.
I'm not your friend, guy.
There are three of us, so we could keep doing that for quite a while.
That
we
is very
could.
True. So, Dickie, you messaged me last 2 weeks ago and said, I don't like these Datacrons. And I'm pulling back. I don't know how much longer I'm going to play. 2 weeks later, where are we at right now?
Well, if I'll explain maybe the journey a little bit, Datacrons were kind of like the tip of the iceberg. It was kind of it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Number one for me was my guild breaking up. That was a big thing.
The Howling Ewoks.
Howling Ewoks breaking up. I've been in that guild for 5 years almost. I've had conversations phone conversations with guys who had nothing to do. We were kind of like a family, and that guild breaking up was my interest kind of dropped a little bit. Then came the switch to 3 ships. That was a big one for me. I wasn't enjoying GAC anymore. I spent most of my ground battles just knowing that it didn't matter because what happened in the ships is what was winning or losing 90%. I have the Executor, I have all the ships, but it was RNG that was determining whether or not I was going to win my round. Nothing I was doing in the front seemed to matter. 80 to 90% of my rounds were determined by the ships. So that was no longer enjoying GAC. And then I was no longer enjoying Conquest either. I gave myself
what was it about Conquest? What changed in Conquest? Or what was the change in Conquest? That was your point. Your typical.
It was I guess the cycle before this one where everything became so hard that the only way to win was through these cheap combinations where you made the other team blow themselves up. That wasn't fun to me anymore. And this time around at Conquest started, I gave myself the challenge. I'm actually going to beat these teams. I have all the toys. I have all the GLs. I have everything. I should be able to do this without using making them all blow themselves up. And I went in Sector 4, a Ewok squad took out my JMK, just took him out. I barely took a turn and I just looked at my phone. I was like, this is, I don't know. It became to the point where I'm like,
but you need to use your consumables, Dickie.
I did. I was using everything. I was trying to use more offensive minded data disks instead of having them just blow themselves up. And it just wasn't working. The only way to actually get through it was these cheap things. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm really not. And I had all my gear. I was very excited about Malgus. I had all my gear saved up for him and everything. And I was pushing for Malgus. I even contemplated breaking the free-to-play, throwing my free-to-play card out to get Malgus faster. I'm like, you know what? $14 for Malgus is actually a decent deal. It's not like, a lot of. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will. And then I just wasn't enjoying it. It's like the grind of having to time your energy and making sure it's just like a 2-week. The scheduling of it, and on top of which, and this is one thing that really grinds me, one of the easiest things they could have done to ease all of this, and they've acknowledged it like 4 months ago, and an easy one is separate Conquest and Lightside Territory Battle. Just separate those two and don't have them running at the same time, so I'm not worried about my Conquest and my doing those at the same time. It was just ultimate frustration.
But you need to also worry about one of the rounds of Grand Arena.
Yeah. And it was just like, I found it. I'm like, I'm not in, like, the two things that I really enjoyed were GAC and Conquest. I liked Conquest at the beginning. I really did. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying either of those things anymore. And then when I saw Datacrons and the first one time I logged in, I'm like, I don't need more headaches. I don't need more things to worry about. And it was like, I could feel it creeping into my life, like frustration creeping into outside of the game. So I'm like, if it's affecting me outside of this game and it's causing me frustration, why am I doing this? Like, why? I'm not enjoying it anymore. It's literally at that point, like those Ewoks made me, for the first time, I was like, I almost threw my phone at the wall, and I'm like, that's not me. It's not who I want to be, and it's not what I do, how I do. And then immediately after, I went and checked my GAC round, and I had somebody who obviously spent a lot of money on Datacrons, and I was like, all right, so this is pointless too. And it was just like, no, I didn't want to touch the game. I literally did not log in for another probably close to 24 hours. I went in and got my 600 for my guild, and that was it. And then when I logged back in, I went and spent all of my Malgus and put it all on Cup. And that was my first Relic 9 character. The first time I actually spent the horde of gear necessary for Relic 9, I put it on Cup. And I was like, that's it. That was my like.
Oh, no, I get that. So, some people like to delete their mods. Some people like to delete their accounts. Other people like to be like, I wonder what this character would look like. So they just spend all of their, they literally spend every single resource that they have. So, people come up with different coping mechanisms to force themselves not to go back to the game. So you've like literally spent everything that you saved up on completely and utterly useless pap in the game just for shits and giggles, basically, at the end. There's so many people do that.
Yeah, and I do regret having done that, and not because I blew that wad of gear and resources. I only regret not having done it to Savage. Savage was my...
Yeah, you're right.
Savage was my first Zeta. Savage was my first Gear 12 back in the day. I just liked Savage, and back in the beginning, I didn't have this, keeping up with the meta. Like, and I've played, like, I really structured myself, and I really, I have a 9 million account at free to play. There's not that many who can say they've done that
with all the GLs. That's also the other thing.
I've had all the GLs for like 6 months or 8, probably more than that. Like, and so I'm not quitting because of like, I don't feel that gear frustration that a lot of people feel. For me, I've gotten over that. Like, even as free to play, I've managed to organize myself, and part of it is I'm a very I do it in my work, and I do it in my writing, and I do it in a lot of stuff. I'm very meticulous about things. I like to plan. I like to be organized. And I had this entire plan, and I'm like, I'm putting almost as much effort into this plan as I am into work, or like.
The best part is your plan is like that Charlie Day picture from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's standing there at the board with all the string theory.
And another kind of click moment for me, and this is going to sound odd for a 44-year-old man, and I know I'm like 5 to 6 years late on this, but I have a 5-year-old who recently, his new favorite hobby and my way of getting him out of the house and away from video games is we go walk around the neighborhood and catch Pokemon. He loves Pokemon Go. So we've been spending time doing that, and I'm like, we started playing it together. He has his own account, and we walk around and we play, and it's a lot of fun. And I noticed, like, okay, well, there's an event that pops up, and it's 99 cents for the event. And I didn't mind spending on that. And it's like, I'm like, it's really weird that I'll always spend money on my son before I spend it on myself. But I'm like, why does it not bother me to spend on this game, but I'm not spending on the game I've spent like 5.5 years? And I'm just like, because it's not worth it. Like, I don't get anything. Like, there's nothing I'm going to get for 99 cents in Galaxy of Heroes. Whereas for
that's the truth. Yeah.
Like, but with this, I'm getting an event that I can play all day. It's like Community Day or something like that, they call it, where it's like, hey, we have a bunch of tasks that we can do together all day long. And it's an entire day. And it's not even about the resources. It's just something fun to do and something fun to track and goals we can set ourselves. Like, you know, it's like for the day, and it cost me 99 cents. And I'm like, hey, this is how maybe mobile gaming should be. It's like the idea of you always hear with mobile gaming is microtransactions. I haven't seen a microtransaction in this game. I see like mega transactions. So
Vonator says at most for events you can spend $20 in a year in Pogo, but in SWGOH you can spend $20 and be done in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
I mean, that's so true. I don't know about you, Neil, but I'm starting to get to the point of feeling like Grid felt, like Dickie is feeling now. It's not fun.
No, it's not. It's a chore. It's a chore. It really, really is an absolute chore. I think the only time it's not a chore, and it kind of, I mean, I came into, I'm lethargic about every single game mode except for GAC. I came into 5v5 feeling not that enthusiastic. The single reason why my enthusiasm picked up for 5v5 was my first round match was against another content creator. So it's not the game that excited me. It was the potential for having a match against a friend, a fellow content creator. That's what excited me, not the game, but who I was playing. And that's the only thing I've got going for. That's the only thing that GAC's got going for it at the moment regarding me is I know it can happen, you know, play Grand Arena for that. So I'm right there with you when it comes to a distinct lack of enthusiasm for the game and not wanting to play it. There's a lot of people that don't want to play it. As you say, they feel like it's almost like they feel they need to because they're in a guild, they're in a community. They need to do it in order to, you know, remain part of that community.
Well, and it's the fact that right now, like, if you want to remain competitive in GAC, like, I wasn't enjoying it, but I was doing it because of the competitive nature of it. And to me, it became so frustrating because I had never dropped out of Kyber 1. I was never even close to. And I dropped down to Kyber 2 on the last day of the last season. And it was strictly because of ships. And I had Executor like not long after it was released. I had it. It's not because I don't have it. It's because even with it, it all comes down to RNG. It's like, if I keep it for offense, even it's like RNG, that battle is very RNG dependent. I kept it on offense, and then I like RNG just went bang, and then that's it. I can't clear anymore. If I put it on defense, then it's the RNG of how does my counter do? Will it? And there's nothing reliable, and it's like, and I won battles because of ships too, but it's just like this. It's the least invested in on CG's part. Like they have invested very little in ships, and it's the one that we as players spend least in, but it's become all of a sudden the most important thing, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, no, my round two opponent doesn't have executor. I do.
Yeah, you won.
So I'm looking at that thinking all I need is a full clear.
You win.
Yeah, I win. I get a full clear, I win. And
Yeah.
I've seen his defense, and you know, because I had the executor and he doesn't, I know I can put absolute trash down, keep all my best teams. Sure, he'll score high against me, but I'll score just as high against him, and I'll clear his fleet. So it's like, I'm trying to get. I've messaged the person, you know, let's do a live attack block, anything to make it exciting, anything to make it potentially exciting. Because if I was him, I'd be looking at this match going, well, I'm not going to win. I'm probably, you know, it's not likely that I'm going to win. Why should I bother?
Here's the thing that scares me. When this, this, Neil, when everybody was getting all up in arms about the game, right around the time of the carry departure and things like that, and Scotty was getting upset, I did my best to stick up for this game. I was always trying to be the optimist. The problem, and I think this is where you've pretty much come to as well, Dickie, is that there's not much optimism left that is obtainable. Conquest is stuck behind grinds and battle passes that don't pay for themselves. When the battle pass thing was first put out, I was excited because I thought, oh, hey, cool. I can earn enough crystals in the battle pass to pay for another battle pass. But no, it's it's a hard currency money grab.
Yeah, and don't forget how that money grab came. They deliberately broke. You know, from 1 to 6, Conquest 1 to 6, everybody was loving it. It was fun. Everybody was enjoying it. It was because you know, energy would refresh quickly, a standard energy rate, stamina refreshed, everything refreshed twice as fast. So you could play a lot without having to do multiple crystal refreshes. Even though people did do I did crystal refreshes, and I'm free to play. That's how much fun I was having with it. And then they bring 7 in, and it's like, right, we're halving the stamina refresh rate, we're halving the energy refresh rate, we're making it a grind. So we're creating a problem, and then they presented the solution of, well, here's the solution, and it's only a partial solution. We'll buy this pass, we'll give you some free stuff, and we'll slightly increase the refresh rate, and we'll slightly increase stamina coming back to you. So yeah, and that was, you know, that's why Conquest is dead to me. And my concern is that what they're doing with Datacrons now is going to do what it did for you, Dickie, which is you're going to open up, you know, you're going to have a bad GAC. Sorry, you're going to have a bad Conquest where your OPGL doesn't even beat Ewoks unless you've got the perfect set of data cards. And then you move over to GAC, open it up, and your opponent's Relic 9 GLs are sat on level 9 Datacrons, which you know you can't beat. And you're like, so my best can't do well in Conquest, and my best isn't going to win me in GAC. What's the point? Which was it that was the straw that broke the camel's back? Was it Conquest or seeing the Datacrons in GAC?
It was probably both. Like they happened. Like I distinctly remember it happened one after the other, and I also pictured. I'm like, you know what? This is the introduction of Datacrons, and it's already frustrating me. I'm like, imagine when we have 3 sets of them active, because we're going to be 3 sets concurrently. And I'm like, I like to, the one thing I do enjoy about GAC is the scouting. And I look at my opponent's defenses and I scout and I plan, okay, well, this is what I'm going to use for that. So these are the best defenses I can put. And I do enjoy the scouting part. It's kind of like a little challenge, and it's a little puzzle to put together my defense. But I'm picturing scouting now with Datacrons, and I'm like, you can't.
No. Yeah, so you might look at your opponent's scouting, and you'll look and they'll go, oh, they like to put Darth Revan down. Let's check his speed. Oh, brilliant! It's 290. My Darth Revan's fine. My Darth Revan's going to absolutely smash that. So you're like, right, okay. So I'll set my defense like that, and I'll save my Darth Revan so that I can take out their Darth Revan. And then the attack phase starts, and you open up and you look at their Darth Revan team, and it's like, hang on a minute, it's got a Datacron on it. What's that mean? And you read it, and it's like, if this put, if they put like 4 debuffs on you, their cooldowns get reduced by 1, or they get 10% health, and you're thinking to yourself, oh crap. Yeah, sure, I'm going to get the first one off, but if I don't kill them all immediately before they get a go, Basti's going to put a boatload of debuffs on me. They're going to heal up, and then so it's like, you're absolutely right. That's just one example of scouting. And that's not even an expensive, because I've got that. It's a level 3 Datacron, but you're not going to see that in scouting. But you're going to base your defense and your offense on what you see in scouting. So it's like, what are you to do?
So we're going to have to go rapid fire on a few questions here, Dickie, and I apologize. First off, and this will be the wrap up of the talk about your decision. What can save you? I'm almost to the point where Hondo can't even save me right now.
For me, I'll say that for the last, since I sent you that message, for the last week, I've been logging in maybe once or twice a day for my guild. I told them I'd stick around, give them time to find a replacement. And I've been just doing my 600. And when it's TB, I do my TB. I promised them that. And I even promised them, I'm like, look, if you guys need a ringer account, here's a $9 million ringer account to bring in. I'll even put the Omicrons on the TB. And I don't want to play light side TB. If I'm still there for light side TB, I do not want to play it. So I'll put the Omicron on either Finn or Kyle Katarn and let it go. But since I've been logging in once a day, I didn't join this GAC at all. The frustration level went down, and I'm actually hey, maybe if I just play like this now, and I don't care if I keep up with the Joneses. I don't have this plan. I log in once or twice a day. I'm no longer my bonus energy and all of that. I really don't care, but at the same time, the pressure's gone. So maybe I go to a more relaxed guild, and if that's the thing that you're worried about. I was it on my main account. I went nomad for 9 months. I was in a really bad place. This was on my main account. It was between 2017, 2018. Right, I was without a guild. The guild that I didn't collapsed, and I just thought, sod it. I'll just do. And all I did was log in. I would do Fleet Arena, and maybe collect a couple of bits and pieces here and there. But I wasn't in a guild. All I did was go in, get number 1 in Fleet Arena, come out. This was before Galactic Republic. This was back during the MILF era, And for 9 months, that's just all I did. I just hoarded materials. I would do a couple of fleet battles. Didn't care about tickets because I wasn't in a guild. I did, granted, I came back 9 months later, but that was because the game, at that point, the game actually got better. I think anybody doing that is probably just going to stay nomad, because a 9 month gap in the game now is very, very different to what a 9 month gap in the game was. We're talking a 9 month gap in the game pre-relic. Relics weren't even on the damn horizon.
I think that people still didn't have 7-star Treyas when I did it.
What does this mean for Dickie and the Noob? What does this mean for the SWGOHs?
For Dickie and the Noob, I love doing Dickie and the Noob, and I still want to continue doing it. That is, as far as I'm concerned, as long as you'll have me doing it, I want to continue doing it. And even it can use in my storylines explore a little bit more of my love of Star Wars rather than the game, and bring in some more Star Wars mythology.
Yeah, make the story whatever you want, mate.
Yeah. So to me, I still love working on that. I wasn't going to do the SWGOHs, and now this week I kind of reconsidered that. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do it. It's a lot of work, but it's something I enjoyed doing the last 2 times. Like I almost, I may have lost some hair and maybe grown some grays during that period of putting it together, but I enjoyed it. And I like the idea of getting it episodic. So I do apologize, as I did say that it would start this week. I haven't had time to get it ready.
So we have the latest version.
But we should be kicking it off next week. I think I actually started working on it yesterday, working on the fun stuff that I did on the first one, like the red carpet and the introduction, and I will have to have Noob do a monologue, a opening monologue, which, if Noob wants input on some of the jokes and stuff like that, Noob is more than welcome to give that input. And I know Noob does enjoy his sarcasm, so
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are we telling them how the cake is made? Is that what's going on?
What are you talking about?
The secret poutine recipe.
Okay. So, there is one thing that we did want to do that we pushed off to this month, is you do also want to talk comics. Will you stick around for after this break in the latest episode, the most recent episode of Dickie and the Noob, and we'll talk about what you wanted to talk about, the first arc of the old Aphra comics. Would you stick around?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. We'll be right back after these messages right here on the Escape Pod cast.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Padawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shittyville's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Dickie, why do I feel heavier than I did when I powered down for the night?
Well, don't freak out, noob. I had Yarmo install a multiverse drive on your motherboard.
A multiverse drive? This is madness. What exactly is a multiverse drive?
It's really cool. It allows you to open portals into different realities.
And why would I want to do that?
Look, we were commissioned to bring in Hondo. Our Hondo seems to be nowhere to be found, so all we need is to find a reality where Hondo isn't missing, and boom, we've got him.
That may seem logical, but I have seen enough movies to know that messing with the multiverse never turns out as expected. This is gonna turn out bad.
Nonsense. We find Hondo, we lure him in, toss him through the portal, and that's it. Bob's your uncle.
First off, Bob is not my uncle. He is a formless AE, a no-bod.
Don't use that term, noob. They prefer the term bodily deprived. Anyhow, time to put this thing to the test.
Okay, but let the record show I am totally against this. How do I activate this thing?
Well, you just need to say the activation code and we should wind up in a different reality.
And what exactly is the activation code?
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula? Dickie, this is bad. We are gonna get eaten alive by these crate dragons.
Say the code, quick!
Scott Bakula! Scott Bakula!
Whoa, man, I really thought we were goners there. That was close.
Whoa, Dickie, you are even meatbaggier than usual. And your head, it's not flapping.
Yeah, I do feel kind of different, but I gotta admit, this feels kind of cool.
No. The last thing I need is more meat on you people. Scott Bakula. Oh, good. You're back. This world seems kind of normal now. Oh, wow. You're a noob also. I never knew they made more. Uh-oh. I'm pretty sure you are not supposed to interact with your other selves.
I'm pretty sure that's a time travel thing. I don't think we need to worry.
Hi. Are you another noob? What's your friend's name? This is Dickie. Do you not have a Dickie? Dickie? No, I don't have a Dickie. At least not that I know of. What is this? It's a human companion. You know, a meat bag. Oh, a meat bag. Yes, I have one of those. His name is Helenix. So, you didn't kill Helenix?
Kill me? Noob, are you planning on turning against me? Trying to kill me?
I don't know what this guy is talking about. I swear.
You swear? Well, I'll swear. If you even think about trying anything, why, I'll gut your circuits, mister.
It is against my programming to hurt humans.
You know what? I'm not even gonna risk it. This has been a long time coming, Buster. I'm removing all your weaponry.
But that would leave me defenseless?
Noob, with the logic programming you have saved to your hard drive, you're already defenseless. Still, I can't risk it.
Dickie, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's go. Good to see you though, Helly.
Scott Bakula!
So, before we begin, you wanna tell me? Who was that guy? He's part of your secret plan to terminate me, isn't he?
No, not really. I don't even... What? Help! Scott Bakula, it worked for him! Whoa, that was weird.
Are you okay, noob? Are you feeling confused by seeing Helenix again?
Not as confused as I am about the fact that we are now made out of blocks.
Whoa, we are. This is pretty different.
Yeah, do I even have any circuits?
Hey, cool! A peaky worker droid! I can't wait to tell Pace!
Hey there, I'm Dickie, and this is my droid Noob.
I'm Rowan Freemaker! Your droid is so cool!
I like this brick bag.
Hey Rowan, do you know somebody by the name of Hondo Onaka by any chance?
I do! I know exactly where to find him.
Seriously? Can you bring us to him?
Follow me!
Will our heroes finally find Hondo Onaka? Tune in next time on Dickie and the Noob. In August, because July's episode of Dickie and the Noob will be preempted by our annual celebration of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the SWGOHs. That's right, tune in to the third segment for awards every week in the month of July. And make sure to join the Escape Podcast Discord for your chance to vote on your favorites for the 2022 SWGOH Awards, which this year will be hosted by none other than The Noob.
Oh, great. Meatbags celebrating their meatbag games. Joy. Are you really sure you want me hosting this thing?
You're listening to the Escape Pod Cast.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's Patreon's choice. So we've got questions and then comic talk.
Yes, so we're gonna have to be very, very quick with some of these, and I'm worried because Salacious Dumb, who loves to do different audio cut-ups of you and I, Neil.
All right.
He has asked a question, and I'm wondering where this is going to go. So I'm going to read his question.
Okay.
Have you ever been involved in a car crash? Did you bleed?
Yes and no.
Yes and no for me. And I
Yes.
think
Yes and no for me.
Yes and yes for me.
Oh. All right, let's we'll go really, really quick through top 3 sports films that aren't basketball.
Major League, the Burt Reynolds football one, not the right
The
stuff.
Longest Yard.
The Longest Yard, and Wimbledon, because it involves an aging Brit winning Wimbledon in a fiction, because it's never going to happen in reality.
Dodgeball, the Adam Sandler Longest Yard, and Air Bud.
I'm going to go really Canadian on this one, and I'm going to have to say Slapshot.
Goon.
The Goon. And I got to throw Dodgeball in there too, but I want to give an honorary mention to Youngblood, because if you've never seen that movie in years, just go look up Keanu Reeves Youngblood doing the French Canadian goalie. It is the best thing you'll ever see. Young Keanu Reeves being a French Canadian goalie, his accent is hilarious.
Top 3 natural disaster films.
2012, San Andreas, and
for me, I can only think
Poseidon.
Okay. For me, both. I liked both of the asteroid movies. I consider that natural disaster because space is natural. Damn it,
it is a natural disaster.
So Armageddon and Deep Impact. I don't know a third.
You just add Moonfall. That's the new
there you go.
Impact movie. But yeah, I'll go with Day After Tomorrow, 2012, and complete the Roland Emmerich trio and go with Moonfall.
Okay.
All Roland Emmerich movies.
Top 3 World War II films.
Oh, Battle of the Bulge, Battle for Britain, Platoon.
Dickie, your turn.
I'll also go with Platoon. I'll go with Saving Private Ryan. And can I count Tropic Thunder as a World War II film?
No. It's just a war film. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are just war. Yeah, because Platoon is technically a Vietnam movie.
Yeah.
I guess the Quentin Tarantino one.
Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, so Inglourious Bastards. I'm gonna have to then say The Producers. Springtime for Hitler.
That's hilarious.
Right? Okay.
That's hilarious.
And then Jojo Rabbit.
Ooh, good choice.
Top 3 historical films.
Oh God. Okay. Top 3 historical films. Star Wars. It did happen a lot. It happened. Long time ago. In a galaxy
does
far...
not count.
I'm sorry, but it says it right at the start of the screen. In a galaxy far, far a long time ago. It's historical. Okay. All right. We'll go with proper historical. All right.
Thank
okay.
you.
Fine. I'll go with. Let's see. I'll go with. Oh God, I'm trying to think of 3 films off the top of my head. You go. I'm going to have to think about this one.
For me, I'm going to continue with the Roland Emmerich and go 10,000 BC. Then Apocalypto. And I can't think of a third historic.
Does History of the World Part 1 count?
Oh, right. Okay. So I'm going to go with Cromwell, because that is a brilliant movie. That is so good. Cromwell, and probably the only historical example of, a benevolent dictator. Literally the only example of a benevolent dictator ever. So I will go with Cromwell. I will go with what was that? Ironclad and Braveheart.
All right.
Obviously, there was some Hollywooding in there. There was definitely some Hollywooding going in there, but they were based on true things.
I will add Braveheart as my third easily. Yes, I forgot about that, but Braveheart easily makes my list.
And don't forget, and this one's for Cass, because I know she likes. She is entertained. The Gladiator. Bones also said that one. All right, or 300.
Is that historical though? It's,
sure.
It's period, but it's
top 3 cult classic films.
Oh God, Earth Girls Are Easy, Basketball, Fish Called Wanda.
All right, Cannibal the Musical, Rocky Horror, and South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut. 2 of them, Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
I'm also going to go with basketball. I'm going to Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail.
Oh, yes.
And for me, The Crow. It's an old...
Fire it up.
That is a good cult classic. Yeah, that is absolutely, yeah.
If you could erase 3 celebrities from existence, who would you choose and why? I need to abstain from this one because I would be very, very mean.
How many Kardashians are there?
3.
So just do it like South Park does it. In Bigger, Longer, Louder, and Uncut. The Arquettes, bomb them. So what's retaliation? The Baldwins. Just say the Kardashians.
There you go.
For me, the Kardashians. Yeah.
All right. Dickie, Doctor Aphra, the 2018 series. You challenged us to read the first 5 issues, which I found. It was a lot of fun. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, well, for me, I chose Doctor Aphra because she's a character that comes up in Star Wars conversations a lot.
One second. By the way, all of the Doctor Aphra comics that we're talking about today are available through Marvel Unlimited. So there you
go. Yeah, and for me, it was just a character that, for some reason or another escaped me for all these years. Like I know of her and I know the story and I knew the character, but I'd never actually read them. So I figured it was a good starting point. It was very interesting. And as you pointed out, Pride Month was coming up, so it kind of fit in with that. Yeah. And it was for me really interesting. Like I was reading this and the first thing that came to my mind was, how is this not a Disney Plus series? Like, how is Dr. Aphra's Adventures? It seems tailor-made for like a episodic TV show. Like that was my first thing just reading this. I'm like, it's here on a golden platter. Take it, Disney.
Can I just offer a quick rebuttal as to why they're not? It's because they write the stories. So she's like the evil Indiana Jones, and she's got droids that do stuff. It's not what she does in her stories is not kid friendly. I think that's the only reason why they haven't approached it yet.
Well, if anybody's going to do it, I mean, they brought Chrysanthemum in, right? So it's hinting that she might be somewhere around. And yes, her droids do steal the show, but I hadn't thought of that. Like, yeah, are they Disney Plus?
Is it Disney Plus family material? I think it would be great as a live. I think it would be great as a live action, right? I think it would be great as live action. I think Brie Larson would be perfect for the role because she's got that perfect resting bitch face. And I do genuinely think that Brie Larson would be an incredible Doc Aphra. I do. I think that she could pull it off brilliantly. Think about the character that she played in in that comic book one. What's his face versus the world? I keep
Scott
forgetting.
Pilgrim?
Scott Pilgrim versus the world. The character she portrayed in that was perfect. If she was to do that, but as Doc Aphra with all of the, I think she'd nail it. Right? I do genuinely think a live action Doc Aphra would be great because they could go dark, like they do in the comics. I just don't think animated would work. That would be my rebuttal to that because of the nature of, because you know what the stories are like where Doc Aphra is involved. I mean, it's not the kind of thing that you'd throw in a cartoon on Disney Plus unless you were definitely, it's like those comics with them for mature readers only. They'd have to slap a great big thing on the front of the for mature. It's like, don't let little Timmy watch that.
Look, they've announced that Deadpool is staying R, and Deadpool will become part of the Disney family, and so maybe I think they're bringing back a lot of the Netflix series, and instead of being on Disney Plus, they're going to be on. For us, it's Star. You guys, I think it's Hulu, right?
Star is Hulu, correct.
I think Star and Hulu are the same. In Canada, it's called Star for some reason, but they don't need to live on Disney Plus. They also own this other platform,
right? Correct, which is part of the group.
If you throw a Doctor Aphra series on there, you're going to get Star Wars.
You could. Yeah, you could definitely get away with a mature audience animated show on another streaming platform. Definitely, it would definitely work on another, on a Stars.
I mean,
definitely.
If you look at,
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
If you look what Amazon Prime did with Invincible,
Invincible. Yeah, I watched Invincible for. Oh my god, this is freaking awesome.
It was an incredible, and Amazon Prime is also, if you've been watching this season of The Boys, are doing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like Invincible and The Boys on Amazon is keeping Amazon alive right now.
Yeah, so until Amazon has purchased one of my favorite sci-fi property of all time, so I'm praying for them, and they now own Stargate. So I'm like, please. I will forgive all the evil you do in the world, Jeff Bezos. Just give me Stargate back.
So that's a whole other conversation. Sorry,
it's okay. Let's talk about the first issue. Kind of give people a taste and intrigue them to go ahead and go on Marvel Unlimited and read the 2018 Aphra arc. But she's about to make this big score. We know that she's an archaeologist for Vader. And she's about to make this final big score so she can actually be recognized, and her credentials were taken away by the fact that she kind of even though she was doing well, her professor hated her. But she set her professor up for failure and took what he was working on and claimed it for her own. In the first issue. Wonderful deviousness. And we even get to see her droids, BT and
000.
And 000. And they are just as ruthless as you would want an evil R2 and evil C-3PO.
Yeah, that's basically what they are.
And, somebody threatens her, and so, behind her back, they're like, you don't want to do that.
They kept me going.
It's like evil sidekicks. It's so refreshing. It's never been, evil, like proper full-on evil sidekicks that just happen to be droids and look slightly similar, but not entirely similar to R2 and C-3PO. It's like the anti-R2 and C-3PO.
Yeah, and I loved, if you read, like there was 2 arcs to the reading assignment. There was the Doctor Aphra 1 to 5, but then it went into Star Wars. I forget what the episodes, but that leads into the Star Wars series where Doctor Aphra meets Luke and goes on an adventure with Luke. And when those, like Luke interacting with those 2, I thought was great, because you could tell he kind of saw the R2 C-3PO dynamic and was kind of intrigued by it, but I felt like they didn't explore that enough. Like,
and this was taking place after A New Hope, before Empire.
Yeah.
So, and now the current arcs are all happening between Empire and Jedi, and do I want to kind of give away what's going on with the comics right now? Let's just say that there's one called, what is it? Crimson Rising.
Okay.
So it's, I would love to do this way more often. Is an easy way to put this.
I'm very down, and I would love to also get some people in the server who will be reading it, and we can, start discussions there and talk about it. Like, I don't think we need to wait till we do a video necessarily, or till we do this segment, but we throw up some issues and we give it a week, and then we, for everybody to actually read it and then go on. I would love to see that become, because I've enjoyed getting
I'd love
caught
to
up on
also
this.
talk the current ones. So I have, and people who have watched the Thaddeus shows, 2 boxes full of current generation Star Wars comics.
Do you have the High Republic in there? Because
I have included High Republic. Yes,
I tried with those.
Anything published by Marvel, that anything in current canon is in this box, and the other one it's on top of.
Now I'm with you, Dickie. I tried a couple of the High Republic comics, but they were just too meh.
I bought,
which isn't a bad thing. Not every comic and every graphic novel and every book is going to be a banger, is it? It just didn't fire. The comics didn't fire on all cylinders for me.
But I were too generic, and they all looked like they were part of some sort of weird cult. Like,
I could totally agree with this, but I also can say I've read it, so if there is a mind-blowing throwback, I'll know what they're talking about. And I look forward to being able to say, being like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's sitting there pointing at the TV.
I don't think that, and from what I've read, is that the High Republic has been a big bust for them commercially. So I think it's going down. Like, it's originally they planned on actually developing like Disney Plus content for it, and apparently that's all been scrapped now, and even like the comic series might be scrapped. And
it's because it's not within the Skywalker saga. So far, it's like way early. But this is even before the Old Republic.
Yeah, but exactly. But we've had Old Republic and Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Sith, and that had nothing to do with the Skywalker saga. But not all of them.
Some of it influenced it. But
there was some really, really, really good stories. Some good. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was some bad ones. Some of those stories of the Tales of the Jedi and the stories of the Empire. Some of them weren't good. Some of them were quite dull. But there was enough really good content in there to keep me going. Good stuff at the start, maybe some meh in the middle, and finishing off with a flurry type thing.
It's like this little factoid. We know that current chickens evolved from dinosaurs, but we don't know the story in between. And are we really that frickin' interested in the story of how a Tyrannosaurus Rex became a chicken.
If it's in Star Wars, yeah, somebody. If it's in Star Wars, if it's in the Star Wars universe, somebody is. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again constantly. Not all Star Wars is for every Star Wars fan, but there is something in Star Wars for every Star Wars fan. Some obscure comic or book or scholastic. I mean, I've got scholastic books from the early 90s that people probably don't even realize exist. You know, stories that I've read about Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, doing missions between A New Hope and Episode 3. But this was before Episode 3. So, you know, there is something there for everyone, even if it, you know, but not everything is for everyone.
Two things really quick. Karthik, 200 bits. Thank you very much, Karthik. We really do appreciate that. And a redeemed 4-segment question. Cascade says, how do you feel about the 10 installment series about Yoda that is supposedly coming in October?
Still more excited about Bad Batch Season 2 and Ahsoka.
Are you gonna give it a try, or
the
Andor
one?
All right. Are you gonna give this a try though, Neil, or are you gonna?
I'll see. We'll see what period. We'll see what time period in the. We'll see where in the timeline they're doing it. We'll see where in the timeline they're doing it. I am looking forward to Andor because I'm. It's not so much Andor I'm looking forward to. It's the bait and switch to Mon Mothma that I'm looking forward to, because that trailer is a bait and it's like it's about Andor, but not really. It's about Mon Mothma, and I'm there thinking, good. I would like to learn more about Mon Mothma than I would about Andor, so I'm going to watch it.
I'll put my answer this way. I've got 2 boxes down here of Star Wars content that is just, I don't care what it is. I want to enjoy it, or I want to see if I enjoy it. I will give it a try. Dickie, what do you got? And then we're going to wrap it up.
I will give it I don't. This is the first I hear about a Yoda. Is this supposed to be a Disney?
Oh, this
Plus
is apparently I thought it was a Disney Plus series. It's a comic, so I mean, I'm definitely gonna get it. Then
you're definitely gonna get it because you get all Marvel Star Wars.
I get all the Marvel.
I will give it a shot. I'm somebody who will give anything a shot. Like I said, the High Republic, I didn't enjoy it, but I read an entire book, and I got 6 issues deep into the comics before I said no. And
yeah. I mean, 6 issues deep. I only got 2.
As far as like, you know, even with Marvel, like everybody's been dissing on Miss Marvel. I've been watching it and enjoying it. Like I'll give it a try. I'll give anything a try.
Did you read any of the comics though?
No, Miss Marvel, no.
You see, that's just it. The people that are enjoying, I've spoken to multiple people that are really enjoying Miss Marvel, and I think that's great. The people that aren't enjoying Miss Marvel are the people that like looked at the comics and went, well, you know, not only were the comics, not only were some of the issues poorly written, but they then changed everything about the character from comics to TV. So there were this isn't about the people that didn't like the comics. These are the people that liked the Ms. Marvel comics, but didn't like the TV show because they changed the character too much. So I'm not talking about the people that read Ms. Marvel and didn't like the comic. Obviously, they're not going to like the TV show anyway. But people that haven't read any comic and people that haven't read any of the comic, they're the people that I'm the majority of the like Mr. Jigabachi loves it. He absolutely loves Miss Marvel. He thinks it's awesome, but he's never read the comics.
There has already been this Age of Rebellion special, a story all about just Yoda. There was also one about, you know, about Wedge and Porkins, and then also IG-88. So I mean, there's plenty of good stuff out there, and
yeah, there's
once
loads,
again,
that's just it. So much Star Wars product out there that there's always going to be something out there for every Star Wars fan, whether it's a TV show, a movie, an animated series, a comic, a graphic novel, or a book. There's always going to be something out there.
Paul, if I can make a suggestion, if ever you want to get rid of those boxes, just mail them to Kathleen Kennedy. Just Disney attention, Kathleen Kennedy.
She has approved all of these, so I think she already knows about it. Hell's Damn UK says, I read the comics and love the show. Of course, I don't like how they change her powers, that she's not an Inhuman. They did
But
change.
like I said, the point I was trying to make, the people that enjoyed the comic books didn't appreciate the changes that they made when going from comic to TV show.
Yeah.
And it's a legit, those are legitimate criticisms from fans of the comics. They are legitimate because they're watching the TV show expecting with very specific expectations. And then those expectations don't get met and they're like, oh crap. Okay.
But one thing you got to consider is they're writing in a different universe. They're trying to connect to the other MCU stuff. They're not trying to connect to the comic stuff. So when I see the 10 rings pop up in Miss Marvel in that tomb scene, I'm like, there's a connection to Shang-Chi and those rings.
I haven't seen that episode yet. Shush.
You're doing spoilers.
Spoilers. That was like 2
spoilers.
Sorry. Okay, I'll shut my mouth. But that was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, you said Miss Marvel. I know what you're talking about, but it's okay. All right. Dickie, how do people find you?
I do have a YouTube channel. I haven't. The last video I put up there was probably about 6 months ago.
It was an April Fool's joke.
No, it was actually, strangely enough, my most popular video, and it got got me like a couple hundred subs just for a 3-minute video explaining how to the piece that's in the guild store, that you can convert to I forget which one, the
relic materials.
Into relic materials pretty easily, and why I never run out of those when a lot of people seem to. And like, I had people messaging me freaking out. Somebody messaged me like 2 weeks ago, like, you have no idea how much that saved me. And I'm like, all right, thanks.
Well, I know that it's youtube.com/c/Dickie Darkside. Easiest way to get there. Any final words before we wrap up the show, and then we'll go roundtable here.
Yeah, final words is just don't take my criticism. If you're still enjoying the game, then enjoy it and have fun and do what you love and enjoy it.
We're talking heads. That's a good way to put it.
I'm not one. I've always tried to stay positive, and I'm not one who ever like went down on people being greedy, or because I realize servers and developers, they cost money.
Yep.
And I go to work to make my company money. So I've always kept that in mind. But I'm also realized that if I don't give my customer a product they enjoy, I'm not going to have customers anymore. So
very true. Neil, what do you got coming up on the Escape Podcast channel?
Just some GAC, just a little GAC. It's a bit of a busy week.
No runes?
So I'll try get some runes in there. Definitely, if I can get my daughter on. So if I can get my daughter on, I'll stream some runes while I'm helping her XP farm. So I will definitely try this week. I'll try and get her on this week, and I'll try and get myself on this week. But primarily GAC.
I will likely have a Summoner's Glory stream sometime in the next week or so. But also catch Bones, also known as Bob on the show. Catch Bones and I tomorrow on Saf's Summoning Circle, a podcast about Summoner's Glory. And be sure to use Vault 37 if you decide to give Summoner's Glory a try. Use Vault 37 as your code when setting up for a small gift from me and to support the channel and us. So, all right.
Before we sign off, I do have one thing I forgot. If you have a Canadian in your life, reach out to them and wish them a happy Canada Day.
Yes.
And to all my American friends, happy 4th of July coming up.
Definitely. Happy Treason Day to you as well, Neil. So.
Basically, it's a day where both of us told the Brits where to shove it, but but we were more polite.
I'm sorry. What's on your money? Oh, yeah, that would be the same monarch. That would be the Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, we were less. We were more ambiguous about it than the Americans were. We were just like, we would like a little bit of independence, please, rather than like, we're taking our independence. We're like, hey, maybe.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor. Thank you so much for everything today. A very special thank you to Hell's Damned UK for going off like a crazy mofo and supporting the channel the way you did today. But most of all, everybody, please be nice to each other, damn it. Neil?
Push the button.
Don't mind if I do.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.